Hi, today I want to talk about a concept of help and how we receive help, how we are able to use help, and some tools that I have personally found incredibly beneficial in my life. So something that I've been working on for years now is some confidence in my own abilities, in terms of like professional abilities. I've been asked a few times if I want to be a supervisor and start supervising other people in their journey to becoming a licensed therapist, and I have always said, no, like absolutely not. I am not the person you all want supervising other people. And in my brain, that was because, well, one, sometimes I feel like I can barely manage myself. And I don't want to be responsible for other people. And in some ways that is true, right? I actually don't really want to be responsible for other people. I make it a rule in my life that I don't babysit other adults. But what that has really come down to, and as the more I've explored, that resistance has actually been a lack of confidence in my own ability, that I didn't feel like I was capable of supervising someone else when I know quite often I'm behind on my own paperwork. If I can't even do my own paperwork, how am I going to help monitor someone else's? That my clinical skills, I think, are there, right? I've been doing this a long time. I think I have good clinical insight. But I'm also a very real, rough around the edges person. I am not the sit there and tell me how you feel and just like always nice, polite therapist, right? I'm laughing with my clients. I've cried with a couple of clients, right? There might be an F-bomb in there or a hell yeah, right? And so sometimes maybe I'm not the most polished person, which I think in my brain reads as unprofessional. And one of the swaps that I'm trying to make is that, is it unprofessional or am I just showing up really authentically? So there's a couple of reasons in there where I've really been like, this maybe isn't a good idea, right? And I've been keeping myself small in that. And the other way that this has been true is because I don't feel comfortable and confident in my own writing ability. So I know that I can communicate. Being a therapist, it's like one of the biggest parts of my job, right? Is to communicate with people. But writing is something that I've really, really, really struggled with. And being a therapist, I have to do a lot of writing. For every client and every session, I have to write a note. And every client has a treatment plan, and that treatment plan gets updated every 6 months. There's, policies that I've had to write or alter to be in a practice. Emails to clients around missing payments or, termination of services, and really feeling like, man, I don't know how to do these things. And I've been sitting here thinking about that this afternoon because that has been, for me, one of the biggest hangups is this piece around writing and how I am not professional enough and that actually makes me tear up a little bit as I'm talking about it, because I don't think that I'm a good enough writer. And I don't think, or haven't in the past, thought that I deserved to do some of the things that maybe I've wanted to do or maybe explore a little bit more, and thought that they weren't for me because of how self-conscious I am about my writing. And that has changed for me in the last couple of months. I'm just sort of pausing to think about that. And I've gotten the like Grammar for Dummies workbooks, and I've gotten, other things like that. I've taken online classes to improve my grammar. And I'm a person that needs an example. If I have an example, I can understand. But often if I'm just told do XYZ, I don't always get it. And I don't know what people are asking of me. And so I'm going to give an example. Again, this is going to come back to therapy because this is the space where I'm using this the most. I have been getting help, and I'm going to just like admit this, from ChatGPT. And for a long time, I was really against it because I'm pretty against AI in terms of like, I don't want to plagiarize things. I think it's really bad for artists with the generative AI stuff and like art. I think it's really harmful. I always want my voice to shine through and things to be authentic. But what I have realized is that ChatGPT can just literally be a tool. It's okay. It's okay to have help from something. I used to use Grammarly, and actually as I'm talking about this, realizing like I should probably use that again when I'm writing things, because it's helpful. But with ChatGPT, I can type in a prompt and it spits me out an example. And again, like I just said, for my brain, that's something that's really, really helpful. And so once I see, oh, that's what they mean when, in a treatment plan, you've a goal and an objective, and then how do you break that down? And sometimes I have a hard time differentiating, like, okay, what is a goal and what is an objective, and then how are we gonna meet those, right? Aren't goals and objectives kind of the same thing? I don't get it. And so I was just writing a treatment plan, and I typed into ChatGPT, create me a treatment plan for this based on this, this, and this, right? Just put in a couple of things, super general. Then it spits me out an example, and I can use its examples to understand and tailor it to the client that I'm working with and the information that I actually need to put in there, right? So I could say, put in for PTSD. It's going to give me a very general PTSD overview, right? A goal maybe would be reduce episodes of dissociation, right? And then the objective would be client will experience less dissociative episodes by this many episodes a week, right? And then under that, I can put in some interventions, like how are we going to accomplish that goal? And how are we going to measure it? And so for me, sometimes I just need that example of what's the difference? How do I know what to put in? What's another way I could word this thing? What's something else that fits under here that I wouldn't think to frame it that way? And so I think I was sitting with a lot of shame around using this tool. And because I have my own narrative about AI and it being scary and bad, I was limiting myself when really, when used properly, it can just be helpful. And it's okay that it's just helpful. And I'm not copying and pasting from there, right? It's like a template. It's like a rubric. Okay, here's how you might frame something. How can we tailor that to my own needs? I've done that to write emails when I'm not sure how to say something. Honestly, when I quit my last job and I didn't know how to word the email, I put, help me write a letter of resignation. Here's the reasons. And it popped something up. And then I was able to take the things that fit and tailor them a little bit and add my own things. And then I would probably copy and paste that as into Grammarly to make sure that that is actually accurate, right? Because that's the other thing. This is just a tool. It is not the authority on anything, right? So you still have to do your own pieces of it. And then after putting it in Grammarly and again, okay, probably it's formatted properly, all the commas are where they should be, all these things, then you can then send the information. So I think really, as I'm sort of ranting here today, is just like giving ourselves permission to make life easier. Giving ourselves permission to use tools that make sense in our lives. Whether that's something like ChatGPT or something else, right? People learn in different ways. We all have different like physical abilities, I've seen people give other people a hard time for using those like choppers in the kitchen, right? Where it's like, where it's just kind of a box and it's got some blades on top and you put the thing in and it dices it for you, right? People have different capacities. People have different mobility things. If a tool is helpful, use it. For me, somebody who's been told my entire life that I'm not a good writer, that I don't go deep enough, that I don't understand grammar and punctuation, and honestly, I had a professor in grad school tell me that he didn't know how I made it to graduate school because my writing was so terrible, right? These are words that have really stuck with me, really impacted me. And now I'm finding ways to improve these things. And again, the more we do it, the more we're going to improve. So maybe in the future, I won't need that tool. But right now I do. And it's feeling really good and really helpful. So yeah, I'm just really kind of thinking out loud right now and just maybe, if somebody had given me permission earlier on in the like ChatGPT world, that it would be like okay to use and might be helpful for my life or how it could be helpful for my life, maybe I would have used it and maybe I wouldn't have let myself struggle for so long, right? And so if people are using tools that are helpful for them, I think we should encourage it more. If there's a tool that would be helpful for you, but you feel weird about using it, reach out. Let's talk about it. I can give you permission to use that tool. You can give yourself permission to use that tool, but sometimes we need outside perspective, right? And yeah, I really think that this has been changing my life. And I just texted my husband and I was like, this feels life-changing. Like I'm finally understanding more and more something that I've been struggling with as a therapist for almost 9 years. I have been struggling with doing my paperwork. And that is part of the problem, is not feeling like I fully understood how to do it because I just needed a couple of examples. And I don't want to avoid my paperwork now because I can just get it done and it doesn't have to sit and it doesn't have to pile up and it doesn't have to make me more anxious and it doesn't have to send me down a shame spiral because, Brittany got behind on her paperwork again because she's the bad writer and she can't write anything and look at the girl behind on her notes, right? I don't have to be that person. I am fully caught up on my notes right now. Fully caught up on my notes. I'm fully caught up on my treatment plans. I am fully caught up in everything that I need to have done because I got help. Because I got help. So I'm curious for you all, what tools are you needing right now? What would feel good to you? And can you allow yourself to use them? Can you challenge the narrative that maybe you're not bad at something? Maybe you just need it framed in a different way. Maybe you just need a little help and you can make it work for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts.